Okay, so the model. Uh, I think there's a dependency I'm missing. Just give me a second. Um, and believe it's this one. And application. Bluetooth. Navigation compose. Units. No, 100x. Libs. ZX. Units. Navigation. Yeah, so here to the model should be fine. And we can see, so the view model can simply have like a state. We can have that main script set that has username, which is a string, and the default values. And we can have main script set, mutable set flow, main script set. They usually say don't expose the what's the word? Don't expose the mutable one, so we can have like a mutable immutable, yeah, we can have and as state flow. And here we can have a simple function to fetch persisted. Let's see, fetch preferences. So at this point, we just want to keep the implementation a bit like we want to keep it as simplistic as possible, and we'll call this at init, and we fetch preferences. This actually can be a private one. Yeah. So okay, and I think here we can collect the state by the model dot collect. Yeah. And here we can say we want to say hello, and then state dot username, right? And we can have user input text. What's that? What's that? What's that? Input. So we can have an field text value, and the value we can say you can add some properties here. Okay, we actually don't need to add some properties here. So we can say the username. It's a bit hacky for now, by remember. New table. What's it? Table set of value. Username and do okay. Just what's going on? What's going on? Okay. So we can have this, and I know it doesn't look pretty, and then we can have a button. On click, we can say we have a text. Save username. Yeah. Okay, we can try and make everything for the vertical. Wait, is it? This way, this vertical. Okay. Actually confuses me every time. Oh, yeah, horizontal. Center horizontally. No. Let's see. Okay, cool. Looks a bit better, yes. So, so now we go into the shared preferences. So we'll do a simple provide. So we need to have like a shared preferences here. So let's see. The dependencies. So let's get the dependencies. You can just do a simple. Let me know if I'm moving too fast or I'm moving too slow, or if you have any questions. Is there any questions so far? No? Okay. Yeah, someone has a question? Anyone? No? Okay. Something cool about by the latest Android Studio is you can replace your dependencies with like there's a helper to replace your dependencies and add them to the libs.toml file. So yeah, so back to the view model, we have back to the view model, we have our someone is calling me. So back to the model, we need a context. Okay, we can say application context. Although this is anti-practice, but application context, context. Does anyone know why this is anti-practice, or why this is frowned upon? Anyone? Anyone would like to take a guess? There's a gift for anyone who gets this. No one wants to try. Let's see. Yeah, Eton is right to prevent memory leaks. But because you didn't speak out, there's no gift for you. That's true. So okay. So we how do we put it? So we define our data store, and it's a data store, and we have preferences and by reference data store, and we have our name. So name of the data store, we can call it Hutsy for today. Yeah. So basically, this is how you how do you put it? Basically, this is how you define. Yeah, you define you initialize your data store, and then we want to on fetch data. We want to fetch. Okay, so let's say fetch from data store, and this is a suspend function. Fetch from data store. And we have application context. Dot data map, and basically you want to say set username, and we have our username. So we can have our key, because username is a string. We can say username key, and it's a string, and we can say it's a username. Preference username. So basically, this boils down to your coding practices and your naming convention. So, and we can say we want it dot get username, and we can have like a default value which is empty. Okay, we can leave it at that. We can say so. Kotlin has the standard library has an extension function called .empty, ideally which is the same as the LBS operator, and yeah. We also want to save, so we can have like a fun function to save a username, and here we are taking the username as a parameter, and we can say okay, this can actually be private, and we can say okay, so this one is, let's do main screen state dot update, it's copy username. Okay. So this say about new username persisted. And we can say instance sets dot update. Copy username is persisted. Username. So I can say current screen state. Enforcement. And we can say current screen set. Let's copy, and here we can preferences, so that we avoid the code, so that we make the code to look a bit neater and easier to like read. Cool. So basically what we're doing here is we are fetching from the preferences. Sorry. We are fetching from the preferences. So we're getting the data store, and from the preferences we are getting whatever the key is here, and the value of it, and then updating our screen state. And then we'll have another function to write to the screen state, not screen set, but to the data store. So we can say application context of data store dot edit, and we can say preferences. Okay, so this requires it to be suspend, and I can say set. Let's see. Yeah, so we can just do username key, and I can say this is username. So ideally, we want to save when we click the button. So here we can say view model dot save username, and we can get the username dot value. No, just username. Okay. Instead of having it as suspend, we can do view model scope dot launch. Do you have any questions up to there? Anyone? Any questions? Okay. That, like, okay. Anyone else having challenges with same as Dav? Is it Dav or Dove? Mic check. Dove. Okay.
Chepsi, could you please increase the font?
I have, but okay. Let me just.
I think now better.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Again, like, feel free, like, because I can see the presentation screen. Just unmute your mic and reach out. Okay. So cool. Basically, what we are doing is when we initialize the view model. Yeah. When we initialize the view model, we are fetching from data store, and ideally here we just So we get the context and we get the data store, the data, and then we map whatever we get from the preferences with the key. And Kotlin has this extension function that ideally does the same thing as the LBS operator with the default value. So we can do this, or we can do or empty. So in case we don't have any value persisted, we can just do an empty, like we can do an empty value, and then we update the state with persisted, like persisted name. So persisted username, and then here we are writing to the data store. So just launch a coroutine, and then again we access the data store, and we pass the value as to the preference with this key as username. And then we talked about why this is an anti-practice, and Ethan mentioned that it's because of uh, memory leaks. So ideally, we don't want the view model to have the context in which it might change. So in case of like a screen rotation and whatnot, and you have the application context, you'd get memory leaks, and you can try out this with the leak canary and see like what the repercussions are. Yeah. So you can see username, label here is username, and we can run this and see if this might work. Okay, let me just do it from Pixel. Yeah, any questions up to there? Let me see. Any questions? Robinson?
So far, so good. I have a
Okay,
question.
perfect. Yeah, let me go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm a bit old developer. I'm not
Okay.
used to using Kotlin, but
Mm-hmm.
I heard you mentioned that you used data store instead of shared preference, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The way I used shared preference, it's like you define like a key value pair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the same like approach in data store?
Yes, exactly. So that's a good question, actually. Yes, it's the same. It's this. It's it's quite the same. So we have here we have the key. Ideally, this is the key, the preference key, and with shared preferences, ideally, this is the same thing. So you have your key here, and then you have your data. So it's just that we are mapping to like a script set, but ideally it's the same thing. We just it's a way to persist key value pairs. I started the presentation by like talking about how it's almost the same concept. Of course, shared preferences was built with Java in mind. But like the challenges that the framework has evolved rather. Shared preferences had some limitations. I think one of the key limitations was that you didn't get acid, like you didn't get uh, proper acid transactions. So you'd get, let's say, you've written to assume a preference key twice and all that, and then it wasn't as as asynchronous. Yeah, asynchronous, and then like the other things, like you could write to shared preferences on the UI thread and all this. So, but if you see, like from this one, it actually enforces you to write it on a like on a different thread. So of course it's the same thing, but of course with improvements to shared preferences to overcome the challenges shared preferences had. I don't know if that answers your question, Lynn.
Yeah, super. Thanks, Ivan.
Okay, you're welcome. Any other question? Cool. Let's just, this looks weird. So let's give it a padding top or let's say identidp, so that at least we see what's going on. This isn't hindered by. Yeah, cool. So we have our username, and we can say our username. Let's see who's also in the call. Kibet Theophilus. So we can say my username is Kibet, and if we save the username, nothing is happening. Okay, wait, did we? Let's see, save username. Let's do this. Oh, okay. Are we updating the states? Something is not working. Now we get to debugging. Let's see, look at. Can anyone say anything that might? Anyone? Let's see. Let's see. We can try this out. Mm, could be. Okay, so we can say map. And we can return this. So we can do this. We can do English. Yeah, and we can collect and do it. See if this works. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this works. Reason why, I don't know. Does anyone have an explanation why this works? Anyone? Okay. So we can change this to someone new and see. Yeah. So it's reactive. And then I think the other benefits that this gives you over shared preferences is that the fact that it's reactive, like it returns a flow. So you can react to not. I'm not sure if shared preferences are this, but it's like you can react to state changes. Yeah, so basically that's it. And we have like different types of keys, so we can do something else like let's say, so if you want to persist something like is user logged in, so this might be a boolean, so we just change the uh, so we change the key to a boolean reference key, and then we can say reference logged in logged in, and then of course here while editing we can say logged in key. User logged in, and then you can say we have to, like, we can do true or false. And again, as it would complain that this is a string if it required, if the key was like a boolean. Yeah. Any question? Any question? I guess we still have some time to spare. So the other thing I'd maybe mention is we can actually. So if you have in implementation, if let's say you are working on on a new project and not working on a new project, or if you're working on a new project, just move to data store. But let's say you want to, you have an old project that you're migrating to data store, and you had used shared preferences before. So the configuration allows you to the configuration allows you to let's see, the configuration allows you to migrate from. Oh, okay, it's not a lambda. The configuration allows you to migrate from uh, shared preferences to shared preferences to data store. The catch is that the name here needs to be the same as name should be same as your shared preferences. Is it key name preferences key? Yeah. And then you can see, you can also have like a corruption handler. So in case there's data that's corrupted, you can decide to like wipe it out or handle as yeah. So it's so you can decide on how to tackle corruptions, file corruptions rather, in case there are corruptions. And I don't think this is something that was there with the shared preferences. I could be wrong again. And then you can also have like migration, same as I think same behavior as a room. It's like you can have migrations from version 1 to version 2, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I guess that's about it from this session. Thank you so much. So okay, I guess I can take some questions related to this session if anyone has any. Anyone? No? Yeah, Robinson, I'll share the link to the GitHub for today's session. Uh, and then I think I remembered something. So shared preferences comes in two ways. So there's the data store preferences and there's like a proto. I don't know if you guys have interacted with the proto buffs and what's not, but it's the syntax is more like C. Is it C or C plus plus? One of the two. But ideally, instead of you having like to define it, so the way you define it is a bit different with how you define this. So it's more of, I think it's C, and then like you have to define your schema and what's not, and then like read the values from it. But I don't think we have enough time to cover that part. Yeah. Any other question? Um, okay, so guys are preferred to type out questions. So is data store logic testable? Yes, you can test out data store. I think they provide is it an in memory? Yeah, they provide an in memory library, if I'm not wrong, so that you can at least mock it and test it and validate that everything is working. Igado, I see your hand is up. Yeah, Igado, you can. I think you're on mute. Okay. What's the best use case for using Proto Data Store? I guess I think it's a bit lighter compared to preferences data store. I'm not sure on that. Like, I haven't done enough digging on the same. But the use cases for using data store again, it's just to persist key value pairs and like read them on the go. So I don't know the exact use case why you'd go for proto data store instead of preferences data store. But I think it might be a bit lighter compared to preferences data store. But I'm not sure on that. I'll have to like confirm and then get back to you on that. That's okay, James. Jalia, you have something? Francis.
Okay, I have one question.
Yeah.
Is there a way we can encrypt this data before saving, or any like recommended even library to do so also?
So I've worked with encryption. There was an interesting project I was working with recently. But yes, you can encrypt before persisting. So just at the point before, like at the point before this persisting, you can have like an encrypted, like you can have your encryption, whether it's RSA or those encryption algorithms. You can encrypt them and then persist. Eaton has shared the benefits. Yeah, I think I can. Maybe let's see. Mm, let's- yeah. Yeah, so the okay. So the differences between shared preferences, preference data store, and proto data store is, of course, this is via flow. You can have a listener for the same. Synchronous API, this doesn't have, but you can with this, but it's not safe to call on the UI thread. Work is moved the dispatchers, so it's safe to call on UI thread. Can signal errors, safe from runtime exceptions. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about. Like uh, it avoids like it ensures the acid in like working with data. So you have like a more, is it more clean? Is it clean? Yeah. Like your data, you're sure that the data you're dealing with is the most recent. And then of course you can migrate from shared preferences for both preferences and proto. And then this is, yeah, so I guess this is the only benefit that proto gives you over preferences. Okay, thanks Ethan for sharing that. um, any other question related to the session today? Anyone? Okay, any other question not related to the session today? Anyone? Any other question related to Android dev? Um, anyone? Yeah, Andrew, go ahead. Hello, Andrew. I think you're muted. Okay, dropped him. Any other question? None. Let's see.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, that was an amazing session. I'm not sure if I don't think anyone else has a question, but to everyone, to anyone wondering if they can get a chance to listen to this again, the session was recorded. It will be shared online to a platform soon. So if you're following our Twitter page, even our WhatsApp group, we'll be able to share the link to the entire session. So thanks guys for joining. I hope you learned something. Thanks, Chepsi, for the amazing session. Asante sana. I'm sure we'll have him again for another session soon. I will nakuanga kwa group yetu by the way, if you are in the WhatsApp group, you can tunakuanga na Chepsi hapo. Sometimes people ask questions, sometimes people get unblocked. And then you also have the small peer learning groups, the groups of fours. Any topics, actually, the topics we're doing at the moment, the topics that we had prepared earlier, like there's an entire module that we're doing, a 10-week thing. So if you're in those groups, you already know that. If you'd want to join, it's still open. You can DM whether on Twitter or any other platform, and you unaweza tupata. Yeah, so thank you for that. Next week we'll be having another session. I think on Wednesday we'll be having Brains take us through a topic. I think we'll communicate much about the topic at the end of this week. I think by the end of this week we'll be knowing which topic it'll be covering, but bado tunapata to the module that we shared on WhatsApp. So thank you guys for joining. Have a great night.
Cheers, guys. Yep. Feel free to reach out in case you have any questions on Twitter. Yeah. Bye.